go over that with you in a second. But before I do that, just to recognize the folks who've been involved with this all along, and we're glad to have a bunch of them here. We have folks from out of town here, and then we have the mission team itself. Sally was on the mission team, and myself, and my wife Diane, John Heisler, I think he's playing golf today somewhere. But yeah, I thought we'd spend a little bit of time on the what and the how, and then dive into the why, because I think the why is really where the action is. Just to catch everybody up on the what, that's what this is all about. So if you glance at that, I'll kind of walk you through it very quickly. This started on our mission trip in October of 23, when the idea was planted that maybe we could rally together, us, the St. Mary's, the Rotary clubs around here in Virginia, to see if we can build a well and run some distribution plant to places in our little community called Malaysia. He does not have water. We'll talk more about that later. But the project began then. It really was a partnership. We had this community that had 500 homes in it, about 2,800 people living in it, and no running water, and the opportunity to do something about that. So the first thing to do was to figure out what that looks like and how to do it. The really wonderful news about this is that in Kenya, there's the president of the Rotary Club, who was also the director of Water Mission Kenya through the Water Sanitation Engineer, and he had passion for this project. So we had somebody who knew what they were doing, thank goodness. And so his name was Moses, appropriately. Isn't that a great name for a work project? So Moses is our guy on the ground over there. And so Moses really led the way on this. But so the first thing was, how much is this going to cost? And it was roughly $100,000 to do this. So how are we going to do that? And so you'll see this funding scope in the bottom. And I won't go through those numbers, but you can see how all that adds up. I think the big message in sharing this with you is the partnership. The fact that St. Mary's and Rotary pull together and make something happen like this. And the multiplier is wonderful. Our outreach team plus a few generous listeners, $12,500 toward this project. And that multiplied itself into $100,000. So the leverage was phenomenal. And so that's the good news. And all that happened, money was raised. The project started about 6 months ago. They finished it. We went over a month ago and celebrated the ribbon cutting. So that's kind of the background for this thing. So that's the scope of it. But I thought before we went much further, we might chat a little bit about the why. Why did we do this? Sally, we love Sally. I call Sally the Gandhi of human services. She has this eye and knows how to see things in a really good light, especially when it comes to human services. And another fun thing, if y'all don't know this, yesterday Sally was announced Christmas mother for Gooseland. Anyway, that doesn't have anything to do with this. But anyway, Sally, come on up.
Wow, what an introduction. Jeez. Thanks, Mike. Jumbo. That means clients for healing. I know 2 words and it's for healing. It's one of them. So I want to start with a simple question. If you were the parent of a thirsty child, would you give them a drink of this brown water? Imagine looking into your child's eyes and handing them water that you know may harm them, because there's simply no other safe option. Clean water is something we take for granted. We take a shower, we cook, we brush our teeth, we move on with our day. We don't even think about it. But for nearly 17 million people in Kenya, clean water is not guaranteed. During our visit to these communities, we met mothers who faced impossible choices. They knew the water they were giving their children was contaminated. They knew it would cause illness. But when the only available water comes from polluted sources, rivers or shallow wells, what choice do they have? Contaminated water spreads diseases that we rarely even think about anymore. Typhoid, hepatitis A, cholera, diarrhea, and dysentery. These are illnesses affecting real families, real children, and real communities every single day. And the consequences are heartbreaking. Every year, more than 5,000 children in Kenya die from diarrhea caused by unsafe water and poor sanitation. 5,000 children. Last year in Ben and Christine's school, 2 high school students died from diarrheal illnesses. 2 students with a future ahead of them just died needlessly. We heard story after story from parents whose children missed school repeatedly because of diarrheal illnesses. Children who want to learn but are too weak from diarrhea to sit in class. And then the families are already financially struggling. I can't even share how impoverished this area was. I mean, it was. We think of poverty, of course, in our area, but this was 2 levels up, 10 levels up, 20 levels up. So families are forced to spend what little money they have on medications and clinic visits instead of food education or opportunities for a better future. And the burden falls especially on women and children. Can I do that slide?
What do you think?
God, I had slide. That's one of the things. So that is Joseph showing people what the water looked like before it was filtered through these individual filters that we have the opportunity to distribute, and after. Look at the difference. And the people in the background are people from the community who have received these individual filters. The blue buckets on the bottom are family filters for families to take back to their homes and filter their water, because even if they get the water, clean water from the well that was, the deep well that was distributed in that community, they carry it in contaminated containers. So they have to filter again when they get back to their homes. Next one. Yeah, thank you. So the burden falls on women and children. Every day, many spend hours walking long distances to collect water from rivers or shallow wells. Hours that could be spent in school or supporting their families, hours that could be used to build businesses, earn income, or simply rest. Instead, countless young girls grow up carrying heavy containers of unsafe water instead of carrying books to school. The sanitation conditions are equally difficult. Without proper toilets or sanitation systems, families are forced to dig holes, use open pits, or just defecate in public areas. This further contaminates nearby water sources, creating a vicious cycle of disease and suffering that continues generation after generation. But there's good news. Projects like this deep well and the distribution of family water filters changed lives. Before communities had clean water, 90% of the clinic visits were attributed to waterborne diseases. After they had clean water, it was less than 10% of those visits. Isn't that stunning? Even facing these challenges, the community we visited were joyful, generous, and hopeful. They shared that their deep faith in God, I just wrote this morning, so sorry. They shared their deep faith in God through prayer, song, and it just permeated their whole lives, their faith in God. They built schools. Ben and Christine built this school for high school students, which was so awesome. That's where the well was. They took care of orphans, and that'd be a whole nother talk about the number of orphans in that area. And just shared their water with each other. So if one family had one of those filters, we couldn't give it to all 500 families. They would share the clean water with other people. So the Rotary Well and Education Equals Hope's water filters don't just provide clean water, they provide hope to these communities. Asante Sana. Thank you. That's the rest of my Swahili.
Thank you, Sally. I'll plan through a couple more of these just to kind of catch up a little bit. Let me tell you. This is after the filters have had effect. And if you look at the expression on this child's face, it's like they're making a new bottle of champagne or something. It's really special. Yeah, another thing, go ahead, sorry, we'll just kind of jump into this. This is the day of celebration when we were there back on March the 20th. And this was a service blessing that was made with the intention of it being a Rotarian, Sally from the USA, and a Rotarian from Kenya, and that's Moses in the white. He's the Moses fellow I was telling you that earlier. And then a senior citizen from Kenya and a little guy from Kenya, showing the unity associated with sharing this project together. And people at work, look at this. Who do you recognize? We are planting trees in and around the tower to help protect and to shade the area. So you see Linda doing some hard work, my wife Diane doing some hard work, I have John doing some hard work. Linda, see you there at home regularly? Anyway, that was another fun part of this project. Go ahead. Oh, this is the fun part. I'm going to digress here a little bit. Another way St. Mary's touched this project is through our wonderful personal leader, Amelia McDaniel. Amelia's been very much aware of this, has run Lenten programs with the kids, the education programs with the children in her classrooms. And so she wanted to get involved in this too. Well, you know how creative she is. So she sent these peach gummy bears, there they are, on the belief that folks in Kenya don't know much about peaches. And I think that's probably true. But anyway, the peach gummy bears, as you can tell, were a big hit. Another thing that she did is further down the slide, so I'm kind of bumping around here a little bit, but I think you'll still enjoy it. Amelia said, we've got an idea. We've taken pictures of a whole bunch of our students and we created a little, I'm going to call them baseball cards. You know, the picture of the child, the grade level and stuff like that. And said, y'all take those over with you and pass them out at the City of Light School, and then y'all take some pictures of those kids and bring them back to me, and I will make baseball cards of the kids from Kenya for our kids here at St. Mary's. And so, you want to tell them a little bit about that? Isn't that a good time?
Sure.
Go ahead.
We focused on the children of City of Light during our Lenten project. And so we talked about the Lenten disciplines of fasting, giving, prayer, and reading scripture. And the kids had a placemat to take home that related it to the children at City of Light School and life in Kenya. And so each week when we gathered, we talked about that. And then they got to flip their placemat over. So it's been our tradition to have a Lenten placemat and you flip it over for Easter. And so these are all butterflies native to Kenya. So they got to learn a little bit about butterflies in Kenya. And as Wayne said, we made these little prayer cards with pictures. If you go out today on the playground, these pictures are hung all around the outside of the playground and on the inside. But our kids took a picture of our kids and they wrote something about themselves to send to the kids at the City of Light School. And then we got these wonderful pictures back of the children from the City of Light School holding the cards, and then pictures of them with also their names and ages, so our kids can start to learn who the kids at City of Light School are. The other thing that the kids took home during Lent was a prayer card, and Angela at City of Light School sent us the roster of all the students. So there were prayer cards with the child's name and age, and our kids took these prayer cards home to learn about the student and pray for the student. And then we actually there was a little QR code on the back where they could hear the Lord's Prayer being sung in Swahili by children. So it was just a way to try to connect the children, our children, to the children in Kenya so they could understand a little bit more about what all this water project is about.
Amelia is so awesome. Thank you for all you've done over the past 3 or 4 years on this little project. So it's touched lots of parts of St. Mary's, as you can tell. Let's see. Sorry, go ahead. Okay, the next question is, how did this go over? Were the folks in Motors said excited about this thing happening. So we had this ribbon cutting scheduled for March 20th. We were going over there, not really sure what was going to happen, because there wasn't a whole lot of press for us going over. We got there, and the first thing I heard from was Christine, who had made a wonderful agenda for that day. The ribbon cutting started at 9 a.m. and was going to run to 3 p.m. That's a long ribbon cutting. And then we got there, and there was a flurry of activity because Christine said, new news, the governor's coming, the governor's coming. So we got to reschedule to that not even 3 o'clock anymore, it was 4:30. So it was a long day. But anyway, so this spot kind of captures really the essence of it. The other 2 water towers that we built together. And those tubs at the bottom are the water filters that comes from Education Equals Health, and the tub that goes with that. And this is just a shame. 500 of those were distributed. So this is just a photograph. Okay. So, you probably remember, some of you might be remembering this kind of thing, years and years ago, when politicians would come down the street when I was 12 years old. They'd have a PA system or speaker on top of their car and they'd be blaring. You know how many big people remember that? Anyway, that's kind of the way this was. So the governor's come in and there's an entourage, caravan of cars, all of the speakers on their roof, blaring music. The governor's here, the governor's here. And so there was a lot of excitement about the governor being there. That's the actual ribbon cutting. And so I had the blessing of being there. 2 miles in the lower left-hand corner is Bishop Ben. The lady in the white outfit is the president of the Rotary Club today, as the governor. I'm not sure who the fellow on the right is. And then there's Craig James down in the lower level. He's the immediate past president of the Rotary Club. So it was quite a big deal. Go ahead. You can see the reception. You know, we didn't have any idea how many people would come to this thing. I think it's going to be 1,500. So you can kind of see it. The schools, there were several schools that were affected by this, and so each one of them came with a presentation. I have pictures from them, I don't want to show them all, but this one was particularly poignant, where they reenacted the impact of waterborne illness and as it had an impact on their school. And so they played, this is the before clean water came around the street. There was a subsequent scene of after clean water, happy faces and so forth. So it's really clear that they got it. I mean, we thought we were having to maybe say, y'all better take care of this clean water. That was not the case. They knew what they got, and they were so excited about it. As you can tell. This is a kind of a signature of engagement. They get the buckets and they get the filter, but Joseph thought, and maybe Celeste thought it would be really well if each homeowner did their own thing. So they had to drill the hole in the bucket to install the filter to take it home. So it was just a commitment to do this. There's your St. Mary's team over there pointing to the St. Mary's line on the recognition plate that's at the base of the water towers. And this little nice development, you've heard us talk about the school, right? That's it. I know you was talking about a moment ago. We went over there, that's a different location, and one more time, sorry. That's the site. And that's some of their value systems. One more time. And that's one of the cards that Amelia had us do. Those kids are so excited for having their picture taken. I'd love to show you all video, but anyway. But the thing to say right now, and then probably ought to make this announcement, but since I'm sitting here, we've learned that this school does not have a deep water or clean water source. And so word got back, and our outreach committee started working on it, and we had a generous parishioner show up, and now for $8,500, we will put a deep water well in the school. So that was great. Yeah. So it's been all good. One other thing I wanted to share with you, I wanted to get Ben and Celeste talking a little bit about it. And Sally, next to you are some booklets. No, next table. Yeah. Thank you. Pass those around. Ben, come on up here. One of the other things that we did because so much change in family behavior with clean water, we wanted to make sure that it took. So Ben wanted to write basically a manual that has two parts to it. I'm going to explain it to you. And so each of the 500 homes in Motorset got this book. So, famous author here. Ben Bishop, Ben Bishop. He's been on this thing the whole time.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Morning.
I am so happy to be here together with my family, my wife and my wife Christine and Caleb, our last boy. We graduated yesterday at deepen school. I'm here just to say thank you to you guys. A big thank you because you have supported our work back home in Kenya, our ministry, the places we live, the communities. I just want to say thank you very, very much. You supported City of Life just as one of my ministry that we have worked together with Enoch and his wife Angela. And so I really have to say thank you, big thank you to you guys for what you're doing to that school. And I pray the Lord keep doing it. That's a good thing to do. I really also want to say thank you for supporting the work of Motorset, the water project in Motorset that we have talked about here. And just to go back, what Sally has just presented here is the true picture that is on the ground back home. She was very observant. Thank you, Sally, for observing that. And I would not have said what you said here. You guys, it's good you said it. So thank you so much. The work that the Motorset Water Project, it is something that we have prayed for a long time. Say 10 years since we started trusting God for that project to be done. We prayed for 2 years, and after 2 years, God brought to us Celeste. She came to visit us, and as she was visiting our school, we presented a prayer. And we said, we decided to have water for the school. By that time, we were not even thinking about the community, but we were thinking about the school because the school was really suffering in terms of getting clean water. The students used to go, we had a shallow well on the school. We had done a hand tap well, which used to serve shortly during wet season, and during dry season it would dry up. And when it dries up, the students would go to the river and fetch water from the river. You saw the picture there. And so that was our concern. And our kids, our students used to be sick all the time. And so it was a big concern to us. So we started praying. So when Celeste came and we were presenting a prayer item, the water was number one on the list. Like, this is the priority. And we started to pray together with Celeste. I remember she looked around and she checked water mission, and she checked that water mission was in Kenya. She called me and said, hey Ben, can you check water mission office is in Kenya? Call them, ask them if they can do this project for us. I went there and I found Moses was the head of that project. I presented my request to Moses. He came and did a survey in 2019, but he later on he said there was no funding. We couldn't find the funding for it, but we kept on praying about it. So one time, Celeste came back to me and said, I want to introduce you to somebody from Richmond. It's called Wayne. So I said, okay. So we drove with Celeste all the way from North Carolina, Charlotte, to somewhere, I can't remember the town. We didn't go, he came halfway, we came halfway, and we met, and then we were talking about this water. Celeste introduced this issue of water, and then that's how the journey from Motorset project started. And then Celeste brought a team to Kenya, and Wayne came on the team. And he was like, I need to meet somebody from Rotary in Kenya. And so we had to look for the Rotary team members. And the president by that time was Moses. Again, who was in the Rotary, he was also in the Rotary. And so this time, when he was presented there, we started the planning, praying over it, and everything else. And today, I'm happy to stand here and say the project is done. The project is done. And this time is not just for Kilcal School, but it is for the community where Kilcal School stands. That is Modosiet community. And we are, this water project is reaching, or is now serving 500 households, even over, I would say over, because there are other people coming in from other, who are not counted on the 500. But the 500 are the ones that are in the book, the ones that we budgeted for. And so the 500 households are benefiting from this water project. And the 500, we went down just to look at the mathematics. You know, numbers are good. It's good to know numbers. In Kenya, the smallest family will have at least a father, mother, and at least 3 children, or 4. And so if there's father, mother, and 4 children, that will be 6. And so if there are 6, that will be the smallest number. But the biggest number for a family is about between 12 to 14 people in a house. And so, in average, if we have given out 500 homes, the 500 homes are benefiting from the water. And then it means that we multiply it by the lowest number, which is 6 people in a home. We're talking about over 3,000 people benefiting from this water. And so that's a big plus. And 2, as Linda was saying here, and also Sally has presented, and then Wayne has also talked about it. Water, even though we are taking water from the deep well, we cannot assume that it's going to, at the end of it all, the people will take clean water, because again, the containers they're using are not clean. So we have to take care of that. And so through Education EcoScope, we have a department called Hope to Others that deals with filters that can clean totally dirty water into good water that we can drink, anybody can drink. And so we have all again supplied 500 filters with these homes. And so these 500 filters are the ones you saw the ladies trying to fix. And so every home has a filter, and they need to use that. And so the book you are holding is a manual. It's a manual on how to use these filters, and so that you can serve them long term. If the filters are well used, they can serve them for a very, very long time. But if they are not well used, they can only serve for a few days. And so our purpose or our plan is to have them serve them for a long time. So we came up with a booklet, and in this case, we didn't just want to do a booklet for filters just the way it is. We want to make it spiritual. So we have talked about the spiritual part of water, and also how to use the water, from step 1 to the last step. Thank you. God bless you and keep you.
We don't have an agenda, or maybe we do. Good morning, everyone. My name is Celeste Bundy. I'm the Executive Director of Education Equals Hope, and just love being back here at home at St. Mary's. I love being with you guys. And it's like my honor that I get to work with Ben and Christine and to work in Kenya, but I also got to participate with St. Mary's on your mission team to Ecuador this past winter. So I'm going to invite Allison to come up and share a little bit about the time there, and while she gets ready, I want to try to put into words how much I appreciate St. Mary's and all that you guys do for us. I feel like your family. When I come to St. Mary's, I feel like I'm at home. So thank you for always being open to giving hope through either education or clean water. Thank you for letting us be a part of St. Mary's. Thank you for sending your people to Ecuador and to Kenya. In 2023, John and Wayne and Linda got to go to Uganda and Rwanda as well. Linda went with us to Madagascar this past March. So I want to try to paint a picture of the depth and breadth of what you all are a part of. And it's really hard to do that in a minute. But we work in 7 different countries around the world. We impact over 5,000 students on a daily basis. And that's because of you. And I hope that every day that that you know that you are giving hope and love, encouragement, education. You're removing the barriers to education through clean water, through uniforms, through shoes, through food, to these amazing students, specifically in Ecuador and Kenya. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for welcoming us back home. And Allison, I'll hand it over to you.
Good morning. So my name is Allison Dunaway, if I don't know you. I led the trip the mission team this year to Ecuador. This was my 5th time. We've been in country, I think, since we did the vision in 2017. And then we had mission teams 2019, 20, and then several years after that. I don't know, it's my 5th time. Okay, so we had a team this year of 13. We actually had we had 16, but if you don't remember, we went during Snowmageddon. So this is two of our team. Once we got in the country, we took several different flights to get there, just because we had to arrange. We got there a day late, but it was okay. We were fine. That was Greg and Sawyer pulling our luggage to the side of the driveway on a sled because we had putting our luggage, putting our car in the house. But Ecuador is, if you don't know, it's almost directly south of Virginia, so it's really nice because you don't change time zones. It's just about probably total flights. We go to Atlanta first, but it's probably about 6 hours total flying time. So normally we go in and we have a day of orientation, but because we missed our first day, we did not do the orientation. We just jumped right into service. We serve in 2 locations, one rural, or Mauritius, and then also Quito in the capital of Ecuador. So our first day, we went to Mauritius, and this is our team on a little walk outside of the town after we were done with our service projects. And we worked to all those cinder blocks you see at the top left corner were moved from the bottom down here to the top there. And so that was our project. So you can see Susan climbing a ladder up to the top floor, and all those wonderful ladies up there in Sawyer also went to the top floor, and then several of us just handed groups up one at a time. So that was one of the projects that we did, and we also met with some children and played games and just had a good time with them. So it's a wonderful community. We started visiting them, I think, in 2023. This is the 3rd time we've been to this community. After that day, my days feel a little confused, but I believe it was between, we went to a retreat center. We had a nice relaxing day because we did not have that orientation day, so we did have a more relaxing day. We went to see the equator, we went to some museums, we went to El Refugio, which is a lot like Shrine. So it's up in the mountains, about an hour and a half outside of Quito, and we all had solo meditation time. sort of my tree. And then you can also go hiking, kind of view. The good news is with hiking, if you go downhill, you will get back to the right center. There might have been a couple people that just started going downhill because they were a little lost, but we all made it back, and it was fine. We moved into Quito. That is our longest serving, or the parish we've longest partnered with, MIUs. And what we do with MIUs is we do some service projects, but most of what we do on this entire trip is build relationships. So our service, everybody always asks, what did you do when you go in country? What did you do? What did you build? Did you build a roof? Did you build a wall? Did you and that is part of what we do, but the reason we do those things is to gain access and build relationships to the people that you're serving. So some of the families, one woman in particular has a young daughter who is not young anymore, who is the same age as Greg and my daughter. And to watch her grow at the same time and to have the same parenting experience as a teenager at the same time, it's a neat thing to have those long-running relationships with the people that we're with. So this time, the city of Quito is in a valley surrounded by ancient volcanoes. It's really long and skinny, but it's a beautiful city. And we took kids from Mission and Rose to the botanical gardens, because that's something that those kids don't have the opportunity to do. Field trip. So we took, I think there were around 50 kids, lots of translators with us, and we all had a great time. And had a picnic after. Then we went on to Ecuador, which is where this is the first time we've done a project there. That is where the medical clinic is. I don't know if some of you might be familiar with that. We collected a lot of medical supplies. It was so many, I think it was like 2 giant suitcases full. We just had lots of suitcases of things to give when we went. But we also did a painting project in their Parish Hall. And we had a really nice dinner and community time afterwards. Throughout this presentation, I've put a few quotes from different participants. I'm not going to read them out loud, but you guys can see them. This is
Somebody's making friends on.
Gardens, and we're preparing lunches. We packed and took lunches with us for the kids. This is at Mission Introduced. We did games for the children and also did a spa day for the mothers, which was really fun. And Greg and Sawyer had about 40 kids with them. Well, we didn't know that they had that many outside, so they were kind of just holding out for 12 children. And one of the favorite times for everybody is doing home visits. So we split up in groups of 2 and go visit families and recipients and using the scholarships. This is, I think, it's the most, it's the thing people are most nervous about, and also the thing that ends up being most rewarding. I'm always nervous to go to somebody else's house and see how that's going to be, and it's always the best time. And then this is the last slide, and I put it here because this is really why we go. The relationships that we form with the kids and the adults that are part of the organizations that receive scholarships, that is why we go, and that's what we do everything that we do. So.
last few hugs. We talked a little bit about this as a team in Ecuador, is that when you arrive, and I hope you guys experience this in Kenya as well, is that when you arrive at an education program, you are family. You are in a trusted relationship. It is like seeing your long lost brothers and sisters. And I know that not all of us are going to be able to get on a plane and go to Ecuador or Kenya, but I hope that you feel the hugs from afar, that you feel the love, the joy, the hope, and just the appreciation for the lives that you're changing around the world. It is truly incredible. St. Mary's, I say this every time I'm here, St. Mary's is special. You guys have a magic sauce that I wish we could just bottle and sell, but the love that you guys give to us and the support is more than I could ever say thank you. But thank you for being here, thank you for listening, thank you for loving, and if you have any questions or if you want to go, you now have like 16 or 17 St. Maryans who you can talk to and come with us the next time. Blue is going to be either in February or November of 2027 in Ecuador, and then hopefully in the summer of 2027 in Kenya. So, all right.